Welcome to R Unwrapped, the CRO Playbook. Okay, so all of those things help build trust.
Yeah.
Do you have an example when there was genuine trust that you've seen, or you've had that mutual part of between the CRO and the board, and what does that look like in practice?
I think trust between the CRO and the board builds, and it goes back to what I've just said, builds when you challenge constructively, or gets broken if you don't challenge constructively. So trust is fundamental for the board to have in the CRO and all the rest of the exec directors, but we're focused on the CRO today. So if there's a strategic initiative being discussed, rather than saying this is too risky, the CRO frames the conversation around the assumptions. What conditions need to hold true for the strategy to succeed? What early indicators would signal problems? It's the focus on not no. I once worked with a risk director who got offended when they said no and the business didn't listen to them. My view was it wasn't their job to say no. Their job was to say, understand what they were trying to achieve and help them achieve it in a different way if they perceived it to be a more effective way to manage the risk associated with that decision. And what they found was the more they said no, the more they were ignored and the more frustrated they got. Because that was the disconnect. That was a lack of trust.
Yeah.
That was trust broken. And I've always been very much it's an extreme position if I have to say no. If I have to say no, I think I've probably failed in my job before that point. Because I should have been engaging with them, the business, the leadership team, whoever it is, in order to help them understand maybe a different way to achieve it. I ask why and what generally. Why do you want to do it and what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
So if someone comes to me and says, we're going to do this, take this action, and I think there's probably unnecessary risk associated with it, why are you doing it and what are you trying to achieve? And then we try and work with them to say, is there a different and better way to achieve what you want to do? And that way, you're not saying no. Yeah. You actually are potentially saying no to the thing they've just said, but that's not what you've said.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is, there's another way. And can we find that other way that de-risks that decision and that approach? So that's generally how I see the value and input of those discussions. And it's not just CROs who can have that. There's lots of people in the organisation who who have that risk focus. It could be your chief operating officer. It could be your chief financial officer. It could be your CEO. It could be anyone in the senior team who are part of that decision-making process and see the risks in it. And that, to my earlier point, everyone is responsible for making sure we're managing our risks appropriately.
Yeah, no, that was really, really interesting. Thank you. Definitely sounds more moving away from like the reporting lines and that hierarchy structure and working more as a partnership. That's how you build that trust.
And I think the CRO does need to be slightly apart from the rest of the business. I am a key part of the business. I spend, and I'm sure through your series, you'll talk to many risk professionals who will say one of the most important parts of our job to me is relationship management. It's 75% of my job is managing relationships in the business, because that means A, risk is in their mind, and B, when something goes wrong, the conversation's an awful lot easier to have with someone who trusts you, who relies on it, and you trust them and you understand each other and you can have a proper conversation about it. And that's where that communication and the decision making, it's a lot easier when you've built the relationships and trust. It comes back to trust a lot of the time.
Yeah. That's something that one of my previous managers instilled in me when I was first starting out in risk, is not coming across and not being the no, and becoming that trusted partner, trusted advisor to the business. That's really resonated.
It's a great book, The Trusted Advisor.
Is it a book?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.